there is no toxic masculinity. There are toxic people. Some men are for sure toxic, but masculinity as a sense is not toxic. Masculinity is an energy that we all have access to. The biggest fear for the masculine is humiliation. I should and I'm supposed are two of the most sort of telling words or phrases that you'll see the masculine say. I should, I'm supposed to, I'm supposed to. And it just loads on the pressure, loads on the weight. The biggest journey in life is from the head to the heart, because we've been essentially cut off at the neck. So when we can get present, tune into these other parts of our bodies, that's when I feel or I know now I need to take a different approach with this person in this situation.
First of all, tell me about what's Mojo.
Mojo, well,
yes.
Great to be here, firstly, Paul. Thanks for the invite. Really looking forward to the food. Mm-hmm. Mojo is this essence that everybody understands when they have it and when they don't have it. And I got really fascinated with this during my own journey as a leader, and times when I felt I had energy, I had flow, I just had clarity, I knew what was coming. And other times, it just wasn't there. So when I transitioned from a corporate career into running my own business as a leadership coach and facilitator, this word mojo kind of came to me as okay, let me explore that a little bit more. Let me explore that with people. And I've now, 7 years, I've been coaching people one-to-one and in groups, and through the podcast, talking to hundreds of people about their own mojo. And the fascinating thing, nobody necessarily has the same definition, but everyone has the same sense of that feeling. Of it, yeah. It is a feeling. It is a sense. And
an invisible energy that you have in you or you don't.
It is an essence, and it's a very attractive one. So when you know, I've got my mojo, I've got that flow, I've got that confidence, whatever it might be, it attracts people and opportunities to you. And you also know when it's gone, when you've lost it, when you can't find it, you become, okay, why is that thing not coming? And the questions start to come to mind a little bit more. So I've really enjoyed just this journey I've been on, understanding what mojo is. And frankly, for me, mostly, and then obviously supporting other people with it as well. Exactly.
Isn't mojo a different word for self-esteem?
I think it's part of it. I think self-esteem is part of it. Self-esteem is that sense of, in any moment, how do I feel about myself? For me, mojo kind of probably sits on top of that. When our mojo is up, probably our self-esteem is likely to be raised. And I think self-esteem is a very environmental, context-driven piece. The other thing about mojo that's important is taking responsibility for your own mojo, because often it can be, well, this situation took it away, or this person took it away. And what I've really learned is we are responsible for ourselves. We're giving this world around us meaning all of the time. So I can draw that mojo towards me. I have responsibility for it, if that makes sense, rather than I'm a victim to it. So that's another key shift for people to make, is not being the victim in your life. It's taking charge of your life, making choice for your life. And when I was in my mid-30s, I was working, I was pretty successful. I also went through a divorce at a time when lots of my friends were either getting married and having kids. I was actually going through a divorce, and my mojo just escaped me, just disappeared. And it just felt like, the best analogy, I had no wind in my sails. You can imagine a boat with no wind in its sails. You can't pick a direction, you can't go anywhere. What I learned from that was, okay, taking responsibility to get my mojo back, I had to take action. I had to start doing things. And what I actually did at that point, I left a pretty comfortable corporate job in London, and I moved to Poland, which was a pretty random place to move to in that particular time, a much smaller market. But an opportunity came up and I thought, I need to do something different.
When was that? How old were you?
I was in my mid-30s.
Okay.
At that point. So just gone through this divorce. I was kind of questioning everything. But I knew I needed to take some action. I needed to take a step forward for myself. I didn't have a sense of, I'd lost my mojo, by the way, at this point. I wasn't as deep into the sort of the work I've been in, but I just had this instinct for I need to do something. And that that move actually completely changed my life. 2 years after that, I'd met my now wife, moved back to London, got a different job, really felt like got that wind back in my sails, and my mojo was just going up and up and up. So that was, a moment of definitely a big dip for me. Now, also to say, it's not a one and done. Lost my mojo, got it back. It's all steady forever.
You got to nourish it.
Exactly, great word. You got to look after it.
Yeah. Don't let it die. If
exactly.
you don't take care of it,
And I became a lot more aware of, what it took for me to keep that mojo up. What
is that?
What do I need? I mean, it's responsibility is the first thing. It's taking responsibility for I own it. And then there's, okay, what's the self-care that needs to go along with that? And whenever the work I do with men these days, I kind of look at 4 domains. And this works for everybody, but especially for the masculine. And there's the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual. Those key domains of your life. And most things are going to fit in there. And what I found
foundation, you think?
Yeah, it is.
Strong foundation.
Strong foundation. And what I found is if any of those 4 domains, if one is really dipping down, say the physical, say you're just not looking after yourself, you're not eating great food, you're not maybe doing the kind of the workouts you'd like to be doing, when that dips way down, the other elements get drawn down too. So they are linked. They're not separate entities, these domains, they're absolutely linked. So it's a case of, okay, that's dipping down. What accountability do I need? What steps do I need to take to just push that one back up again? So I keep a really close eye now on those 4. And, I mentioned spiritual in that. Going back, probably before moving to Ibiza, actually, I didn't really know what that was for me. And then I became a meditator. This is about 9 years ago. Spent some time in India. And, for a lot of people, India is the source when it comes to spirituality. And I felt, okay, I'm a bit more just connected to everything rather than separate from everything. And that's kind of how I view spirituality.
Sense of wholeness that you've built. Right?
Exactly. And, much of life, much of culture teaches us actually to be separate. Distance, we've got competitors and you can't trust people. That is separateness. And for me, spirituality is the opposite, is a connectedness with everything and everybody that's around us. And I've really found that, and I've been on my journey since living here in Ibiza to go even deeper into that. Things like plant ceremonies and that sort of thing, and my ongoing meditation practice has all really helped with that. So yeah, just those 4 domains of life can be really, really useful just to understand.
I love this idea, and it's a concept I've learned about from a mentor, like these things they call like the web of life, that everything is connected, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at life as a web, like a spider web, every part of your life are in there, and like the strength of your web is as strong as its weakest link, right? So if you don't take care of one part, if you left it to its own, and it just for some reason just crumble, everything can collapse. So you need to be like, I realized that in life you have to be aware of all those part of your life and be constantly like juggling and be like, okay, like the turning plates, like those guys turning plates. This is the weakest one. Okay, I'm going back, and this is like constantly doing that. I think my health is my weakest link now. I'm going to work on that. I think my relationship is my weakest link. I'm going to work on that. I think my finance, my job, like whatever, and be aware of what needs most of my attention now, and be like, okay, I need maybe to spend like 2 more hours on that this week, and constantly doing that.
And there's the key word, awareness.
Attention.
Awareness and attention, exactly. It's that when we're not aware, all of those things can start dropping off until you get to what I would call, maybe a crisis point, or the mojo goes down completely. Absolutely. And then, the other word, attention, for me, our attention is our greatest asset that we have in life. So it's like, where do I put my attention? Where I invest my attention is the most important thing. And, for me right now, it's like my relationship, it's my kids, obviously my business, my friendships. That's where I want to choose to put my attention. And that, actually that starts to help you with all the opportunity there is in life. We're very privileged. I sit in a very privileged position. There's lots of different things I could do. And it's about choosing what's going to really support me, my mojo, and the purpose that I've set in life. So getting really clear on that. So sometimes it's a yes, and sometimes it's a no, I don't really want to do this. So when you invited me to to do this, have this conversation over food, it was a hell yes. It's like, yeah, I know Paul. He cooks amazing food. I love to talk, so let's do that.
Did I cook for you before?
Yes, you did at the gents
yeah.
Christmas dinner, which was just amazing on those fires.
That was simple.
We all sat outside, and it was,
Alright.
very good, very cool.
Talking about food, how about I serve you the first course?
I would love that.
Yeah?
I would love
Alright.
that.
So you told me, when I sent you this questionnaire
Yeah.
about food, you told me something that I really love, this story about your father, that he took you to the sea in France, like to the sea coast in France, and you ate this like platter de fruits de mer, like
Fruits de mer.
seafood platter.
Yeah.
And you, tell me if I'm wrong, but you are like, you wanted to impress him, so you ate the whole thing, and he was like, you're never gonna finish that. And you finished the whole thing, right?
That was it. But
you actually like seafood, right?
I love it. I love it.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
And that was the moment I discovered I love seafood.
Perfect. So I've created a dish
Yeah.
based on that memory.
Oh man, wow.
So it's going to be quite different than
Yeah.
the actual seafood platter, but the idea is the same, right?
Wow. Yeah, we were driving down through France. We'd go to Spain every year on holiday. This is me, my dad, and my step family, because my mother and my father divorced when I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd do this holiday every year, and it was a real bonding moment for me and my step siblings. And I remember it was actually, we're at the coast, we're in
What was it?
Poitiers was the town.
yeah.
It was actually inland, right?
Poitiers is inland, yeah.
Inland.
But it's pretty close from the sea.
Yeah, and we'd start and we're all, we'd gather in the restaurant, and I'm looking at the menu. I don't speak a lot of French, and I just saw fruits de mer. I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. What's
It's
that?
a cool name.
Yeah, and kudos to my dad. He let me order it, but he was also fully expecting, when they brought the full fruits de mer on ice with all the oysters and the whelks and the cockles, etc., that I would go, oh Lord, no, not that, and push it away. And my father isn't a man of many words. He's not that expressive when it comes to his emotions, but he did say he was proud of me at that moment when I completed eating this fruits de mer. And I think I had a sense of, unconsciously, it was a bit of a test. It was a moment in our relationship.
Yeah,
and
because you didn't grow up with him, right?
So no, from the age of 5, I grew up with.
So that was
living
like,
with my mum.
I'm with my dad, I want to impress him.
Yeah. And we know how important, obviously, for the young boy, the young man, the father figure is. And when the father figure isn't around an awful lot, yeah, of course, that comes to the fore. So yeah, I'm pleased that comment has given you some inspiration for this, and I'm excited.
So you got like a potato that I've cooked in dashi. This sauce is made from roasted kelp. You know what is kelp?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Roasted kombu,
Yeah.
roasted kelp. Dashi and miso butter. And that's just a bit more of that roasted kelp.
Be salivating now.
Roasted kelp oil. It's very toasty and bready. And
Wow.
here you have a little raw prawn tacos. Choose your weapon
Yeah.
and go for it. Enjoy, my friend.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Oh man,
That's good.
that's so good. Oh gosh.
Lots of flavor in there.
So much in there. And different textures and wow.
Done. All right, amazing.
Oh. Wow. That sauce.
Right now, I'd love to talk to you about leadership, but how to lead others. So you've been having this podcast, Mojo, for how long?
5 years.
5 years. And you've been talking to leaders all over the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd love you to tell me, what did you learn? Like how, the what, how, and why behind how to lead gracefully, and what did you learn in those years of conversations?
I mean, so many conversations, but I think what it comes down to, and it does link to what we were talking about before, it's the most successful leaders of others that really help others realize their potential is when you do lead yourself first. And for me, leadership is an inside-out job. And that sounds simple, but not necessarily easy, because for many of us are kind of taught with leadership theory that it's this idea or that idea, you must use this framework or that framework. And that externalizes us, if that makes sense. But when you lead from the inside, when you understand your own authenticity, who you really are, your own vulnerabilities, your own values, it puts you in such a much better position to help someone else with theirs. And leadership, again, not to mistake leadership with being a manager. Managers have a hierarchical position over, often it's power over people. Leaders don't have to be hierarchically senior to people. Leadership is about influence.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So when you're creating influence, when you have influence, whether it's in an organization, in a family, in a community, that's when you're leading. So hopefully that supports people. Some people say to me, well, I'm not really a leader, Richard, because I'm only managing one person at the moment. That's not the point. It's your influence, and then therefore from the influence, the impact you're having. So getting really clear on how I influence, and then the impact that I have from there. So that's where I like to support people a bit with that, just that understanding of where leadership can live, for sure.
I mean, it does make sense when you say that. It starts from you, because I think the best way to lead people is to understand people, right? And the best way to understand people is to understand yourself, because we all function in a very similar way, you know? We all come from the same place, the same fears and the same expectations, the same, like wants in life in general, you know? And I think, it's really important. I think it's really important to
and I
start
work,
there.
I work a lot with people around, there are different styles of leadership as well. And often, we get into the world of work, we experience leaders around us, role models, and you adopt a style of leadership which may be very natural to you, or you just think this is the one for me. And that can work pretty well, generally to a point. And that point oftentimes is when you are starting to be responsible for teams of people, when there is others involved. And that's when people realize that leadership is hugely situational as well. So if I apply exactly the same leadership style to all the people I work with at all the time, it's just not going to work. It's not going to be in flow. So a lot of work I do with people is understanding, and I work with 6 different styles generally. Maybe there are more available, but 6 we can kind of remember. And I get people to think about, okay, this is my natural style. Maybe it's quite democratic. I want everyone to have their say. I want everyone to have a sense of consensus. Also realizing sometimes I need to be more direct, because we're in a moment of maybe some crisis. There's a lot of change going on. Maybe the team is new, inexperienced. That's when being pretty direct, or more direct as a leader, can actually serve you. And there are other times when maybe people are always quite direct, always working at a real high pace. And when you're talking about your kitchen, that sort of came to mind for me. Okay, that works for a certain environment, but it's not every environment. And when you want to look to develop people in your team, from a talent point of view, you might need to step into more of a coaching style. So this is not being a professional coach, but it's taking more of a coaching mindset to the everyday. And that can be, I'm just going to ask more questions. Because oftentimes, again, as we grow up as managers, as leaders, what we're rewarded for is our knowledge, our craft skills. And that gets you to a certain point. But you also get to a certain point where you might be managing people who have very different skills to you, maybe more experienced than you. So you can't actually almost tell them what to do, but you can still support them by asking them, what's the best next course of action? So really understanding that leadership is hugely situational, and you've got access to lots of different styles of leadership. And I see people go, oh, right, okay. So I can, in that instance, I can really slow down with that person in a one-to-one and kind of get into that conversation. And also I might need to speed up. In this kind of situation, I might need just to get a bit faster with my decision-making and more direct with my language. And it all has its place, it all has its moment.
So basically, like almost everybody around you should be led differently, depending on who they are. And you need to be able to access, not to be stuck in this, like, I am this kind of leader.
Precisely.
There is different skills and way to lead I need to learn, and I need to be able to realize when and to whom I need to be able to...
That's the game.
Okay.
That's the game. And people say to me, Richard, when will I know that I'm going to switch from this mode to the next? And there is no algorithm to tell you that. And what I always come back to again with everybody, it's like you will know. Often it's in your body. So, and here's a big shift for a lot of people, as we spend a lot of time in our heads. Like we're thinking, and lots of work rewards us for being in our head. And that can support, and it can mean we miss certain things. So when we come into our body more, and I point to my heart, and I point to my gut for my knowing, then you have a deeper sense of, okay, my feeling is, or my knowing is, this is what this person needs right now. Versus my head, which is kind of going crazy. My ego is saying, no, don't do that, can't do that. Fear lives up here. But when we get into...
Logic,
Yeah, exactly. Too much logic, not enough emotion.
Yeah.
And we tune into these other areas, and especially, I work with a lot of men in leadership, and they say for men, the biggest journey in life is from the head to the heart, because we've been essentially cut off at the neck. Right. This is all valuable. That, not so much. Those emotions, don't talk about those. But when you really access your emotions, because remember, emotion is just energy in motion. It's just moving in us all the time. You'll be feeling an emotion right now. I'm feeling an emotion. People watching will be feeling an emotion. And it's just getting really honest with that. So when we can get present, tune into these other parts of our bodies, that's when I feel, or I know, now I need to take a different approach with this person in this situation. Because something shifted. Because I'm really reading the person versus I'm thinking about what's coming next or what I want to say next. An awful lot of it is, in coaching skills, it's about really opening up your ability to listen. And everyone says, yeah, I listen really, really well. I would say you might hear well, but do you listen well? They aren't the same thing. Hearing is a physical process that goes on. I hear
you, but I don't understand you.
Exactly. Listening is a choice to go, what's going on here? How can I go deeper with this? Is it the words I'm hearing, the body language I'm seeing, the energy I'm feeling from that other person? That's a deeper listening. And that, for me, when you're leading others, when you're a leader with those sorts of responsibilities, when you can access that, wow, so much more becomes available to you. And as I say, make those decisions about, okay, I need to be like this now, and then I'm going to shift and be like that. And just a little add to that as well. This isn't about being inauthentic, by the way. It's being you being direct or you being democratic, not, I must do it like that person, that famous person or that person I used to work with. Really important to tune into me doing it my way, but also having the sense of I've got options here and I can lead others in different ways.
Yeah, I think it's a great point about authenticity. Like, I think there's a big misunderstanding. It's like, but if I am not like that, and if I do that, I'm not authentic. It's like, eventually life is going to ask you to change, right? And what you are today is not going to be able to create what you want tomorrow, right?
Yes.
By definition.
Yeah.
So you need to learn some things on the way. And if you look at yourself in 10 years or 10 years, before, you will be, and you were very different. And authenticity, I think for me, it's like be able to be, not what you are, but what you want to be, right? I think it's the faking until you make it kind of thing. It's like, I think it doesn't mean that you're unauthentic. It's just because I've decided to do something different, to behave differently, and I will do it until it becomes a habit and it becomes part of me. And maybe the world is going to look at me as, weird because I'm changing things around.
Yeah.
But it's me because I decided to define myself like that. Right? So this is authenticity for me.
Yeah.
Enjoy, Richard. You're here to eat.
Here to eat.
You good? Yeah, you good?
Eating and talking. What a wonderful day. Oh my word. Wow. Just layer
Makes you
upon
giggle,
layer
wow.
upon layer of flavour. And then
There's a lot going on.
Then I hit the tomato.
There's a lot
Wow.
going on. That's what I like about the show. Is like I always do things I've never done, and I know I would never do it again.
Wow. I think you should do this again.
I mean, maybe for my client on the show, never. This is yours. This
Oh.
is
I see what you mean.
yeah, on the
Wow.
show. Like this is yours, and that will forever
Wow.
be yours, man. That dish exists because
This is-
you exist.
Man, this is such a beautiful thing. Honestly, I'm so
Maybe my client
privileged to be here. It's,
All right, so now I would love to continue on what we started before you ate about this topic about masculinity and how sometime in this world and with all this information we have online especially, we can be confused as male what is healthy masculinity. Right? So can you tell me a bit more about how you see that?
yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. Of all the subjects we're talking about today, this is probably the one with most focus on it, most noise around it. A lot of that noise is online. And, I think there's a lot of conversation around words like toxic masculinity, and I really don't like that. And for me, there is no toxic masculinity. There are toxic people. Some men are for sure toxic, but masculinity as a sense is not toxic. Masculinity is an energy that we all have access to. And by the way, as men, we have access to our masculine energy and also our feminine energy, right? It's not gendered. And I think
What
that's
are the difference? How do you define those two?
yeah, so often, and look, I'm going to generalize a bit, but masculine energy is that it's about structure, it's about directness, often it's about strategy, that sort of
Decision
action.
making.
Yeah, a lot of that is
Moving.
in our masculine energy. And our feminine energy is about connection, it's about flow, it's about how we come together and how we communicate, how we feel
Connection.
into each other. And you see, when I describe it that way, hopefully we get a sense of it's not gendered in that I'm a man, I must be always in my masculine energy. I'm a man, predominantly in my masculine energy, yes, but I also have access, when I choose to, this amazing feminine energy. Everything that flows, everything that moves. So think about it this way. The masculine energy is the riverbank, okay, that creates the structure. The feminine energy is the river, is the movement of the water, is the ocean. Okay,
I love that.
so that's the way to really get into it and know that we can access both.
Yeah.
And for me, often, the more you tell stories around this, the more guys can go, yeah, okay, it's okay for me to be in touch with my feelings. That I talked about that journey from the head to the heart. That for me allows me to access my feminine
And it
energy.
doesn't change your gender.
Of course, it doesn't change my
It's
gender.
just-
I'm
It's
still a
just-
guy.
I think that's the biggest. Like, there's a lot of confusion about like masculinity, femininity, and male and female, which is
Yes.
just not even the same thing. It's just completely different. And you can, of course, and I have realized that and learned that I think masculinity and femininity are actually modes that you step into.
Yeah.
Now it's time to be a bit more masculine. Okay, let's fucking go for it.
Yeah.
And now it's time to maybe take a step back, listen, understand more, and be a bit more feminine. And I think
Exactly. And look, the other thing about this is why this subject is so important. Actually, when men get trapped in the belief that I must be only masculine energy, masculine traits, that's when men get into trouble. That's when men get isolated. The stats. The biggest killer in the UK of men under 45, death by suicide. Like, men are 3 times more likely than women to take their own lives. Mental health issues, actually life expectancy for men in the Western world is less than women. And a lot of that is down to mental health challenges because
How do you explain that? Yeah. How do you explain that?
Well, I think
How
men
do you connect it to masculinity.
I think because men are not connected. But that's the thing, are not sharing. You know, I see.
They're being too masculine.
Yes, and
they
a
don't
belief,
allow themselves
a
to
belief,
feel.
a misplaced belief that masculinity is, I don't tell anyone about my problems. I can't have any problems. I can't admit to problems, and I can't ask for help. Now I see, you know, like my wife, very much in her feminine energy. The way she connects with her friends that live on this island, friends that live around the world, it's always a connection going on. And I actually learn from her. I think, oh, I haven't spoken to that friend of mine for a while. I want to connect. I want to check in again. Because that's, again, for the masculine, we can get a little bit in our cave. You know, when there's a problem, when there's a challenge, I'll go to my cave and I'll solve it. That's a very masculine approach. Or you can go, I've got a problem, let me talk to a friend of mine who might be able to help me, or just support me with it, or I'll find someone. You know, it's the classic thing, Paul. In the days before Google Maps, you see men driving a car, they get lost. The wife says, could you just ask someone for directions? No. I'll
it's
find
there.
it. You know, I'll find it.
I've been there before.
I'll find it. I'll definitely find it. An hour later, they're still driving around and the wife's going, what are you doing? Just ask for some help. And it's that thing. I mean, I know it's a silly throwaway sort of story that we all recognize, right? Yeah. But it's that demonstrates exactly what the biggest fear for the masculine is humiliation. So you take that forward. I don't know where I am. How could I not know where I am? I haven't planned this journey well enough. Humiliation.
I'm supposed to be able to read a map.
I'm supposed.
And know what the world.
I should and I'm supposed to. Two of the most sort of telling words or phrases that you'll see the masculine say. I should, I supposed to, I'm supposed to. And it just loads on the pressure, loads on the weight, and can get us to that, really dangerous place.
It does, and I can really relate to that because I was a lot more masculine in the past. I still have a lot of work to do, to be honest, on my feminine side. But still, like, I had to be right most of the time, if not all the time. And you just end up in a reality where when you're wrong, no one will ever tell you that you're wrong because they know you're never going to admit it. And so you're never going to learn anything, you never have any feedback. And you get stuck in a situation and nothing unfolds the way you want it to. And you refuse to admit that you're wrong, and you just don't go anywhere. And you end up also like lying to yourself. Be like, I can do that and I will do that, but you don't. And you don't ask help to actually get there and you never get there. Yeah. And it's a cycle which takes you like down, right? Because you just lose complete confidence with yourself. Yeah. And people lose trust in you and you lose trust in yourself at the same time. Right? Yeah. So,
and this takes me back to, we're talking about Mojo and, it's not just the name of my business and the podcast, but what I really believe in. I know there's 3 parts to it, especially for the masculine. And there's presence, so that sense of being, okay? There's joy, how am I actually feeling? And then there's performance. And that's really important for the masculine, the sense of my performance. That's the doing state. So when you can join all of those up and you recognize, okay, this is where my mojo is going to be a good place because all of these things are in train and all working together. It's because you're being honest with yourself. How's my joy right now? It's not a lot of joy. I mean, a lot of guys I speak to, they're doing the work. They're going to work. They're working hard and work a bit harder. But Richard, I don't feel any joy.
Yeah, they hate it.
I have no joy in my life. And guess what happens? Their performance at work and whatever realm will start to suffer. And a lot of it for me, it comes from that sense of that presence at the beginning because I'm not present, I'm not connected, I'm not feeling that feminine energy. I've pushed that feminine energy away because I was told as a young boy, don't show your emotions, big boys don't cry, all of this kind of language. So you push that away and that doesn't allow you to access this essence, this mojo that I love to talk about.
And I think you're right. I really believe in this idea that the most productive thing you can do in your life is to be happy. Because like the more happy you are, the more enjoyment you will have to do the things and the more you're going to be able to do it for a long time and the better you're going to get at it. Yeah. And I really believe in that. And enjoying everything you do going to make you so much better at it. And I see it with cooking. And when I do have fun with the menu I create, and when I create a dish and I cook for someone, I'm like, that's going to be good. Yeah. Because I had fun creating it. And I really, I know. It's kind of unexplainable, but I know if I had actually enjoyed creating this dish or not. And every time I enjoyed the whole process from the idea to the delivery, the result is usually really good. Yeah. And even if I'm wrong, I'd rather like be wrong and have a happy life anyway.
Well, what I hear there, Paul, is you're choosing I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is, oftentimes, and again, I'll talk about the sort of men in this, we come at it from a different place. We go, right, when I have everything that I need, and often what that have is often money or more time. So when I have all of that, then I'll be able to do certain things.
And I'd be happy.
Exactly. You know exactly where this is going. Then I'll be happy. It's always the one day, someday, soon. Then I'll be happy. Then I'll be happy. Or your example, I'll start with happy. So if I'm happy, then what am I going to do? I'm going to do what makes me happy. And when I'm doing which makes me happy, I'll have everything I need.
Yeah.
Because, I just trust that it's all going to work out.
Yeah, and it's like desire is a contract with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want, right? Mm-hmm. It's like until then, I'm not maybe not going to be miserable, but I'm not going to be fulfilled or like super happy until I get to this point, right? It's like I refuse that, and I will work until I get to this point, and then I'll be fine. But the thing is, if you look at it as a video game, when you start, you are level 1, you want to go to level 100, it looks like, wow, level 100 is going to be amazing. But the thing is, as you go, when you get to level 95, when you look at level 100, you're like, it's just like 5 levels up.
Yeah, no
it's
big
not
deal.
that big anymore, right? And once you get to level 100, the only thing you want to do is to buy a new video game. That's it, honestly. And that's what I think every people go through in their life. It's like, there's nothing there. There's nothing more than you have already here.
Yeah.
And this is really, really, it took me a long time to understand that. And I'm like, I want to go somewhere. I really want to go somewhere cool and different. And that, but I come from a place of curiosity. Like, I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to try to create something meaningful that I love to do. And I will walk. And whatever is there, I'm really curious to see what it is. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. And even if it's not, that was so much fun that I win anyway. Right?
Yeah.
That's how I say it. It's a journey kind of analogy.
Well, we are, again, have you heard of the hero's journey?
Yeah.
Right? So the Joseph Campbell work, that's essentially, what you're talking about in there is it's the call, what I'm hearing, there's something I'm going to do, and I know it's going to be fun. I know it's going to work out. And on that journey...
Fun doesn't mean easy.
No, exactly. Well,
Fun doesn't
really
mean
important. There are,
of
there's part of the hero's journey is the dark night of the soul. When you sort of go in and you work out, oh my God, this isn't what I thought it was or who I am. But you also meet the teacher or a guru or a coach that helps you on your way. But the wonderful thing about the hero's journey is, it's the search essentially for the Holy Grail. And back to what I was talking about leadership being that, it's an inside out job. We think the Holy Grail is out there in the distance. It's in India or Brazil or somewhere I've got to travel to. The Holy Grail is, there we go, exactly, my friend, right next to me, all along. I had it in me all along, but there's something about needing to go on something of a journey to find that and prove it to yourself. And then, by the way, the journey's not done. You just go again, again.
It's a loop.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this incredible conversation. We're going to
My friend.
stop for a bit,
Yeah.
have desserts, if you see the space, yeah?
I've saved some
All right,
space.
then let's do it.
I'm laughing again. Very good.
I know. So if Richard is happy, he giggles. I know that. if you make something good, if you don't giggle next time I cook for you, I know that's not good enough.
That is a very special thing to be cooked for like that, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Yeah?
Really, really. Means a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I have to thank you for being here. That's my way to...
It's been the highlight of my week.
Huh?
The highlight of my week. Great. Been a pretty intense week, but very nice to come and do this.
Yeah. How intense? In what part? What part of the web?
Well, mostly a lot of what I do is I hold space for other people. So it's one-to-one coaching, training people in leadership development. My men's groups, they're all happening this week. Some of my weeks, there's maybe a bit of each. But this week just happened to be all of
Super
those.
busy.
Yeah, and
Overwhelming.
Yeah, and hosting a podcast as well. It's I want to get it right. I want to be sharp as I want to show up. And I guess back to those 4 domains, because I'm keeping an eye on all 4 of them. My energy feels really up. We're on Thursday, and I don't feel tired. My energy is definitely up, so I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. If my energy was down and I was pushing away, something's off here. But all of those things have given me something, and they take a lot of thought and a lot of preparation and a lot of presence to do all of them well, and being a dad at the same time, right? So when I come out of my home office and Noah comes home from school and he wants to play, I've got the energy to play. That's really important to me.
Yeah.
To have that too.
Yeah, for sure.
And not go, not now, son, I'm just to this or to that, which is, a lot of us got to grow up with that kind of language around us.
And the long-term implication of that is massive.
Huge.
Playing with your kids or not playing with your kids, and having time for them and not having time, or having energy for them.
The science is really clear on
difference,
it.
yeah.
I mean, especially I know about boys because I've got boys, but the more physical play that's going on, even the rough and tumble as we call it, they're developing in a greater way, in a better way, and they're more happy with physicality. They're more happy with their bodies and that sort of thing. So after I do bath with them every evening, that usually for about 15-20 minutes on our bed, we're literally wrestling. Imagine a 52-year-old man, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old all wrestling.
Who wins?
I'm on the bottom, my friend. I'm definitely losing.
Okay.
But that connection that we have, that is like one of the most priceless parts of my day. When I have that. Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So before we wrap it up, if you have like the most important, let's say, call it truth that you can share with leaders or people who aspire to become leaders, what is the most important thing they need to remember? The last word before we stop the show.
Okay, so to sum it up, to find your leadership mojo, as I'd call it, is really focus on your presence and being present. Not stuck in the past, grasping onto what's happened in the past. You can't change that, that's gone. Not fixating on the future, which is where a lot of fear lives. The more you can be right here, right now, so you can choose, how do I want to show up? What leadership style do I want to put into place? How do I want to offer that feedback? When you're present, you can do that. And as I've said, what I mean by that is getting out of here and into your body. How can I inhabit my body, especially as men? How can I get into my body, feel what's going on, feel into the conversation, know what the best next thing to do is? That would be my best approach. Ways of doing that: get into nature. Nature is available to all of us. Even if you live in the city, there'll be a park, somewhere you can go and walk and breathe. Ibiza, we are blessed with some of the greatest nature in the world, I would say. Practices like meditation, journaling.
Building awareness, yeah. Right?
Yeah, anything reflective. Anything where you slow down and reflect is really very useful. And the last bit, there is, what support is there for me? And I talk about, okay, find a coach, find a container, find the content. And those 3 together can really support anybody. And that's why, I run my men's group, and it offers all of those. I'm the coach. The container is the safe place that these guys choose to come into. And yeah, I share some content with them like we've been talking about, some ideas, some frameworks. So you can learn, so you can develop. So yeah, get present would be my tip.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
It
Really
was a
enjoyed
pleasure.
this.
It was a real pleasure. Yeah, man.
Well,
I hope to see you soon, right?
I'll come back anytime you ask. Episode 6, scene 1, take 1, Mark.
Wow. Yo, that's your...
Beautiful.
You're good, man.
Hired.
All of those plants are edible on there.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not taking this away from me. This is
Oh, that's it.